Hello, and welcome to Medieval Dynasty. Well, I went to sleep, it's now autumn, and it's another hunting incident. Some poor soul's just been injured, it seems, and there's nothing I can do except accept compensation. So this time, it's Agnes that's going to be working 3% less efficient for a while. Well, it's also a bit of a miserable day, so yeah, the transition into autumn wasn't so good, and now we've got heavy rain as well. I'm going to come into here. It's not so as noisy. The plan was, I was actually going to be building an actual cow shed. That was the plan. I'm just going to put all this rot away because I've got so much rot. I ended up throwing a lot of things out. Can I reach that? Nah, it's in an awkward place that I'm not going to reach that. Foobar. Right, put that away. But yeah, I mean, the plan was over there. I'm staying out the rain because it's just so noisy. Actually, I could go in the house. At least you can see it from the window, hopefully. We've got a cow shed over there, plus a house, and then just about there we've also got the existing food storage. Now, I do want to replace that because that's a tier 1. But I need to knock it down because the plan was to build a cow shed next to the sheepfold. But that's in the way, and there's also a little house, so they're both in the way. I need to knock them down. The only trouble was, last night, I went into here, and I tried to put some meat in here, and it just gave me an error saying, nope, there's not enough room. It's like, no, so we're right at capacity. There's no way I'll be able to knock that tier 1 storage down. So, what I was thinking in that case then is we're going to head up to where the cave is. So this is where we get our copper and our tin from at the minute. I mean, the longer term goal, I should say. I mean, I want to mine because then I can assign people to work in the mine. We're at about 4,500. So the plan would be that I've already built a resource storage there. At some point I'm going to build a food storage anyway because I want to actually have some people living there who'll actually be working in that cave, which what will be a mine. Because once we get a mine, we also get access to iron as well as the the copper and the tin. So yeah, I suppose I can kind of like solve two problems, if you will. So before I knock those down, the plan now is to head up to there and build this this actual food storage. Then that'll be a tier 2 one. I'll then knock the older tier 1 storage down. At some point I need to replace it. I'm just trying to replace all the buildings, put them in the proper places. I just don't I don't have the technology to start building things like these market stalls yet. Not too far off. I mean, 2,200, we need to get to 2,500. So I'm not quite there yet to work out where I'm going to end up putting the tier 1 resource storage, the tier 2 resource storage, I should say, and the tier 2 food storage. So I suppose that buys me a bit of time. It also gets me a bit of extra work to do in this area because it's all to do with extraction as well as building, so that'll benefit this particular building technology. So I thought, oh yeah, may as well do that then. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to have a look. I mean, we ran out of time, it seems, to get this field finished off. I ended up doing the fertilizer bit for this section here, but it was getting towards nearly 5 o'clock at night, so there was just no way they'd be able to put some cabbages in there in time. But having seen how much like food we've actually got, that's not a big deal. We've got so many cabbages, I'm not really too fussed. So I'm going to leave these two because there's only 2 farmers left at the minute. Philipberta, she's just had a baby, and it's a case of, yeah, I'm down to 2 farmers having to look after 2 fields. But I think once they've actually got most of this harvesting done, I think I'll pull one of them and get them onto their working in the barn because there's a lot of stuff needs to be processed in the barn as well. So there's a few things there, but I'm gonna have a look and see if there's anything that needs repairing. So we've got a small house needs repairing. Oh yeah, some of the old animal pens need repairing as well. There's a resource storage needs repairing, so that's not too bad because that's where we're going anyway. So that's the one that's next to the cave. So the plan then is I'm going to get these buildings repaired while I'm over here, and then we're going to head up to the cave and get this extra food storage built. Well, we're actually now into the last day of autumn. I actually managed to get around, do a bit of a tour around here. I think they were asking for the wolves one again, but I did manage to get a pretty good quest down in Lesniger, which has boosted the technology for production. And it now means actually, there you go, we can now make market stalls, so we'll be able to start selling things. Except I've still got a lot to do because, I mean, I went over to just behind Brighton where the cave is, and I've built a tier 2 food storage up there. I've knocked down the one that was here, the tier 1 storage, and I've knocked down a house. So Berta's not too pleased because she's living in a thatch house again. She was really, I think she was getting really happy because she got to about 32% because she was living in a stone house, and now she's being demoted back into a wicker house, and she's not happy at all. But in those 2 days I managed to make a complete tour, get to the places I need to be to find some quests, and I've got one there which is still outstanding, which is for the fields. So that's going to get me another 250 points for the farming technology. Which, out of curiosity, where's that going to get me to? So that's going to push me over the 5,000 mark, which is going to get us into... looks like we'll be able to make the apiaries after that. But yeah, I mean, I managed to get the cow shed done, and I've just put the frame in for the house. I thought I'd finish these because I'm still really keen to get into this. Yeah, to be able to get to build a mine, I must admit. I mean, 5,000, that's going to be a real boost, that I must admit, because I've got 2 smiths there just working away. Trouble is, I mean, they're churning out just what is really garbage tools, to be honest. I mean, I've got probably like a lot of wooden hammers that are just going to waste. I've actually got 420 stored hours. I can't complain at that, but I end up with lots of wooden hammers that really just aren't going to get used. But once I get, you know, enough people in who can actually start looking after the mine itself and start actually getting resources, I can get the blacksmiths to start turning all of the copper and the tin into bars. They'll be able to turn it into bronze, and then that'll really boost things because we'll get much better tools after that. Now then. That's still a ways off. But one interesting thing, I'm just curious to see if they're still there. Because I was out chopping down trees. Yeah, they are. Yeah, there's a bandit camp just over there. I can just about make it out. It was much more obvious because I've been working through the night chopping trees down for that house. So yeah, that's a bit concerning because there's our village. There's a bunch of bandits right there. It's like, okay, that's not comforting. But anyway, I must admit, I'm seriously struggling with these gates. I think they're a good idea, but they're an absolute pain to place. I mean, I'm doing this. I can easily line up the fences. You know, so I've got a nice fence. It's running all the way up to that part of the house. We'll come to the end of this house, and then we're running another fence from about there down to there. I mean, I think I'll widen that out, to be honest, because I need to leave a bit of room for the cows, to be fair. They've got a reasonable amount of room, but out of curiosity, how many cows do you get? Yeah, I'm curious to know how many cows I'm going to end up with. Yeah, we're going to end up with 8 cows. It's not exactly much room for them to get about it, so I'll probably end up widening that fence much further out. But yeah, I mean, I started putting these sides in and down here, but it's trying to place this gate. It's just bizarre because like that. I don't know. It doesn't end up where you think it's going to end up. It's like, I mean, I've run a little path out to there and I've got a path out to here. But to me, I mean, I'm looking at that and the left looks further back than the right, which is a bit weird. So I'm kind of, I know that's going to end up at a bizarre angle. So I've got to literally place it so that the right kind of ends up off from the left. It's really weird. But the trouble then is you can see where that pole is on the right, presumably. And it ends up even further forward than that though. So if I put it there, so it's off the road, it's not as bad, but yeah, it's a bit weird, I must admit. I'm spending ages just trying to place a gate. It doesn't, you know, it'd be great if it could have snapped into the actual the fence, for example. That would have made things easier. So there we're buffering up against that part of the fence there. So if I move it to there, I'm trying to line it up. That to me looks kind of lined up. But I think it's going to end up way further forward. Ah, now that's weird that it worked that time. It seems to be better if I'm looking down than rather than trying to lining it up like that. Very odd, I must admit. And I do like this, mind. Once on, when you actually put these fence foundations down, you used to destroy like the fence, and you didn't actually take out the individual part. It took the entire section out, which was always a pain if you wanted to resize a fence. So I'm finding this is a lot better now. I want to put this back in a normal mode, because then I can put the fence in again. And then we'll run that up until it comes up against the gate somewhere, wherever that's got to. Yeah, it's a bit better, I think. So it'll be just slightly off, I think. Ah, now that's I think that's having a problem because of the road. Yeah, that's sometimes part of the problem. I use the road to kind of line things up, but then sometimes it gets in the way of the other things that you want to put in afterwards. Right, so put that back into that mode, put that back there, get our fence back again. Right, try it again. So put that. Yeah, I'm quite happy with these fences, I must admit, because they certainly seem to be doing the trick of keeping those sheep in for certain. Right, so if I do... No. It's going to be off slightly. It's weird that it's got to be slightly forward for some strange reason. Actually, that's a thought. If I... Yeah, because it ends up... It's not lined up with the gate I wonder if I'd do it the other way around then. I wonder if it's because I put the road in. Because that looks as though it was part of the road. Right, try again. So, I mean, if I put it... Yeah, it's not going to let me place it very close, unfortunately. It's not going to be as close as I would have liked it to have been, which is odd because that one seems a lot. No, I see that one's got that weird gap as well. It's a real shame you can't get things to just snap. I really like it. It makes life a lot easier if things just snap into place. There's some games that do it really, really well. Some games you end up with mods. I mean, Ark's a perfect example where you end up with using like a mod like S Plus because they introduced an ability to snap things into place, and it makes your life a heck of a lot easier. The amount of time I've had to waste doing this sort of stuff is crazy. I mean, let's see. I mean that. Why is it that's getting much closer? That part of the fence is gonna end up way, way closer. And then you get this gate that's going to end up with this big blowing gap. That's just plain weird. Yeah, don't want to make your life easy, that's for certain. Right, well, I think I'll knock this down now that I think about it. Because I want to leave a bigger gap for the cows to roam around. I don't have to do though, because I mean, if ever you go over to Gostovia, there's just a bunch of cows and just hang around doing nothing. The sheep aren't really doing much, I must admit. I mean, they're in a pen. They don't seem to get up to much. I'm going around the back there. Now, if you look at these lot over here, on the other hand, they can just wander where they please. So these are free range. So they're going all over the place. There'll be chickens all over. I mean, I've got little. I think these are the geese that I've got. Yeah, so I've got some geese that are just wandering around. I'll have chickens wandering around, little pigs wandering around. So they have a much better lifestyle, I must admit. Yeah, maybe having a much... Hang on a minute. We're getting towards lunchtime. What are you rabbiting on about? Oh, I've got two. Ooh, there's a thought. I've been selling some of the geese off because the once they get, I think I can have up to 10 geese, so it makes sense to start selling those off once they get to adulthood. So since I've now got 2 roosters, hang on a minute. How can that be a rooster at a half? That's interesting. So how old do these live for? Ah, they only live till about 6 1/4, so that's a bit risky. It's a bit of a risk if I sell... I might sell that one off, because then that one can take over and it'll last longer than that one. And I've got two other hens to cover for the older one. I mean, it's still like 2 years, but you just don't know how long it's going to take for them to reproduce, because some of them, they just seem to take forever. I think it's entirely random. Anywho, yeah, I need to go around chopping more trees down before the end of the season. It's going to take me ages because these fences, they need the actual planks, so I have to chop the trees down, turn them into planks. Yes, it takes a heck of a long time, so I can see us we'll still be doing at this in the winter time. But good thing is, eventually I'll get there. I'll be able to get my mine. Well, it's now winter time. I've actually been adding more traps because I actually got some skill boosts over time. Let's see, I think that was the hunter one. So I put a point into the trapping master. I mean, there's some other ones that help you with, like the bow, for example, but I thought I'd do that because that gets you more points in survival, I believe. Yeah, so you get more points in survival for doing that. So yeah, so we've now got a total of 4 traps that we're running. Now, I don't know why, but for some strange reason, I've never seen anybody build a snowman yet. Maybe that's something they'll introduce into the game, but I'll have a look and see how our horses are doing. So we've got 2... Yeah, fair enough. So we've got the 2 main ones, the 2 little foals. That to me just looks strange. Every time I see that one, I think maybe it's just because it's a darker shade of brown. It's just without the light, it looks kind of like a mixture of grey and black and white. But never mind. Right, so I think because it's the first day of a new season, the plan is I'm going to do another tour. I usually only do this section here. As soon as you start getting into Jezrika and Horniger, it just takes forever. I mean, it'll go a lot quicker once we get a horse. I'm just curious actually, because I think somebody actually over here has got a quest. So I might start there then and go. Well, I think that one makes a bit more sense. It's a bit more economical. But anyway, I want to see if there's any damage first. So that's the house. I'm still in the middle of building it. The fishing hut haven't got up yet, so that's why they don't have any spears. And I thought I'd fix them, but I hadn't. I thought I'd given them the spears, but I hadn't. So yeah, that's a dilemma. You make tools for people and then forget to put them in the barn to use. Oh, that's storage. It's out near the caves here. It's forever getting damaged for some strange reason. Because that's our original one. It's been around a lot longer. Now that one I had to replace a seriously lot amount of panels on that one. And you know, it's that was just last season, and now it's damaged again. So it is tier 1, not tier 2. So it's still on like wattle, walls and thatch, for example. So the hen house is going to need some repairs. Now that's interesting. That's a barn level. Oh yeah, I suppose that makes sense. It's only a tier 1 barn. I wonder if we are. Curious when we get to tier 2 then. Oh, I could build a tier 2 barn actually. Trouble is, if I take that one down, then no one will have anything to work, so I'll have to make sure I've got all of the resources, but it certainly pays to replace them. I mean, that's a tier 2, so like resource storage. So it makes sense to have a tier 2 barn. It's gonna, as you can see, the difference is you've got big solid log walls with tile roofs versus just these flimsy wattle or stick walls and thatch roofs. But yeah, I've still got all of there to do. So I've widened the fence out, and I've started. I chopped down a lot of trees because of that farming quest. Which, incidentally, because of that one, we're now past 5,000 on technology points. So we could actually build an apiary. But then after that, we're just into tier 3 for the food storage in the barn. We haven't quite got to 4,700 yet, so I mean we're getting there. Because I mean I've got a lot of buildings, as you can see. I mean I'm already planning to upgrade buildings, let alone build new ones. I mean I'm nowhere near finishing that place off. I mean at some point I'm going to have to come up to here. I'll probably replace that tier 1 resource storage with a tier 2. I'll just have to be a bit careful because there's only. I wonder how much storage capacity. I don't think I've got that much. Yeah, I mean, we don't have that much free storage. So chances are I can't probably rip that one down. I certainly won't be able to do that one. So, still a lot to do, but we're going to start a little tour, so at least I can miss out Lesnica and I can just go around these 3 by the looks of it. There's quests down in Jezrika, which, nah, it's not really worth it for me. So we'll go around, see what the quests are, then we'll get on with building our cow shed. Well, actually the cow shed's done, it's the house and the fence, isn't it? And I still need people to actually work there. Still a lot to do. Well, I finally managed to get all this built. Took quite a while. I mean, the fencing just stretches for so long, it just takes so many planks. But we've also got ourselves 2 little cows as well. So what I've done, just temporarily, I put, let's see, who did we put in here? So I put Will Berger in here, so she's one of the hunters. So I've got 2 hunters who are both in their 30s. I'm seriously struggling to find any men who are like in their late 20s who are any good at farming, to be honest. Now, one thing I'm thinking of is, I mean, Gundolf's a fisherman. I don't think he's up to much. I think, let's see, I think he lives on his own. Yeah, Gundolf lives on his own now. He's 31. Now, one of the things I'm interested in doing is building another stable over there for horses, because that's going to be, to me, it's going to be a bit of a lucrative trade selling horses. So what I'm thinking of doing is basically taking one of these hunters and using them to be the to look after the horses over there, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, what level they start off, they won't be that particularly good, but they'll get better over time. So I mean, let's see, so Will Berger is in that house there, so she's 34 versus Gundolf, who's 29. Now she's only level 1 at farming. So I'm not too fussed if I actually use her. The alternative would be Gertruda. She's level 2, so there's not that much of a gain. I was also thinking of Naradka. I mean, Naradka's 28. No, she's actually got level 3 in farming anyway. And what I could do potentially is I could actually take her off the actual water supply stuff and then just get Agnes doing this during the winter. So Agnes will be a herbalist for 3 months of the year, 3 seasons of the year. And then when we get to winter, I'll just get her to do the water. So it kind of, I was thinking you'd do it that way, but I'm thinking because I've got 2, I mean, she's already paired up anyway. I'm trying to think if I paired her up with, oh no, yeah, I paired her up with Siegfried. Yeah, she's paired up with Siegfried. So I've got one person really, which is Gundolf. I mean, Odo's already paired up, so is Edmund. I haven't said that, I don't think Edmund, oh yes, Edmund is. So I suppose if I get, it's like eeny, meeny, miny, more here. It's either it's either Will Berger, who's 34, or who's the other one again? Gertruda. I mean, Gertruda's the younger of them. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to move Will Berger over to there. And then what I can do is then I can find somebody else to look after these cows. If I can find somebody in their, in their late 20s next season, I could pair them up with Gertruda. Because part of the reasons for pairing people up is, well, it helps the village grow in theory if they have kids. But it also saves on the cost of housing. Because I'll have to pair this three of them over here. What? It's not even, like, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. You're not supposed to be, like, crowing in the, like, start of the dawn or something. Never mind. No, it saves me on the money because, I mean, I think that the bill this year is going to be pretty high. I mean, we're into winter and we're close to 5,000. I mean, I've got about 1536, so we've got quite a bit of flax, which I haven't sold off yet. I mean, there are animals I can sell off, which again is that's that incentive for. Oh, there you go. We've got some more geese. So there's the incentive to sort of keep horses and sell them. I mean, 2,800. If I just wait a short while longer, I'll be able to sell them for 5,600. I mean, the cows at the minute, they're just calves. They're going for about 1,200, so they'll possibly double maybe. Yeah, they'll double, so I'll be able to sell cows for 2,400. Sheep for about 4,000. Oh, blimey, have they reached adulthood? Yeah, they have. Oh, cool. So yeah, there's money to be made. But what's also interesting is the fact that I can now actually make these market stalls. So I'll be able to start selling off things. So you build one of these market stalls. If I can find that comes under services, doesn't it? Yeah. You'll be able to build a market stall, which means it gives me sort of like an idea to sort of like pair these people up with somebody who's got diplomacy skills, because then each individual market sells certain items. You're kind of limited in the type of market it is, so it might be a market that sells weapons, for example, or tools, or a market that sells food, for example. So each type of market's limited. So now that I've got those two there, I think I might start building some markets down here. But I think what I'll do in the meantime, because we're not quite close to the end of winter, so I think I'll get started on that other stable over there. And yeah, I think I'll take Wilburger over to there. I'll drop her as a hunter, make her a farmer to look after the horses. In the meantime, though, Alruna's actually maxed out. She's now hit the limit of 10. So that's it. She's not going to get any better than that. I mean, that to me is just incredible. Because she was one. I'm sure she's one of the later people we took on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her out of there. If I go back to my little extraction hut, because there's nobody in there. So I'm going to assign Alruna over to there, because I'm going to play musical chairs with people. So if we go to the sewing hut now, I'm going to assign somebody else. Because the actual job doesn't change, you know, what people do. That doesn't change. I'm just going to be shuffling people around. So I'm going to take, so Odo's a blacksmith and he's at about level 3. I'm going to look for his other half, Dobrowoja. So she's going to become a seamster. And then if we go back to the smithy, so at the minute that's doing, say, about a half for a wooden hammer. So we'll add her in, because she's maxed out. She'd be probably like the best sort of like blacksmith I could possibly get. Whether she actually likes it or not, I've no idea. But just out of curiosity, now that she's on board, so we've jumped from about 0.5 that Odo was doing up to 2.18 because she's on board. So that's a massive jump, that. So, wow, we're going to be producing about 67 stone arrows a day. So the idea is, once she gets to level 10, I mean that's Alruna actually, but once Dobrowoja, she gets to like level 10, because she's level 3 at the minute, but once she maxes out at level 10, I'll swap her and Odo around, so that, and then, because the idea is that I'll end up with two maxed out blacksmiths, and they'll be like going hell for leather, producing some seriously good goods. I mean, I'll probably be interested to see if Gustavo even gets to level 10 by the time they're done, because Alruna just like literally just raced to level 10. I haven't seen anything like it. So there's something about that that sewing hut that's done that. Because I mean, Damrika's are like level 7, Edmund's at level 7 in farming. Right, that's Huberta's up to level 8, which is interesting in animal breeding, but anyway, so the plans now are, yeah, we're going to get an extra stable done, because I'm maxed out. I can't have any more horses now. We can't breed anymore, but I want to, because I'll be able to make a lot of money out of this. But yeah, now that we can make market stalls, I think that's what we'll be focused on next. But of course, that's all for another episode.